All right, let's get into this. We're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most incredible, totally invisible ballets of modern technology. It's something that happens millions of times a second, all around us, and it's pretty much the only reason our digital lives don't just stop the second we start moving.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You're cruising down the highway, chatting away, and somehow, your phone just keeps that connection perfect. It's seamlessly jumping from one cell tower to the next without you even noticing. So, how in the world does the network keep up? How does it know where to find you at any given millisecond?
Well, the answer is this amazing, lightning-fast process called a location update. And really, it's not just one thing. It's this constant, perfectly choreographed conversation, a dance between your phone and the network. And we're going to break down exactly how that dance works, step by step. So, first, you have to understand the huge problem that any mobile network has to solve. For someone to call you or for you to get a text, the network has to find your phone among millions, literally millions, of others. Now, it can't just constantly ask every single phone, "Hey, where are you?" every second. That would totally crash the entire system. So they needed a much smarter way, a way to know your general neighborhood without having to knock on every single door in the city. And the solution, well, it's all about giving your phone two very special, temporary pieces of information. Now, these aren't your phone number and they're not your permanent SIM card identity. Just think of them as a temporary address and a secret nickname. These two things are the keys to this entire operation. First up is the LAI, which stands for Location Area Identity. The absolute best way to think about this is like a zip code for the network. See, every cell tower is constantly broadcasting its LAI, kind of like a lighthouse announcing its location to all the ships. Your phone is always listening for this signal, so it always knows which zip code it's in. This isn't a secret at all. It's public information that your phone just picks up automatically. Now, the second piece of this puzzle is the TMSI, or Temporary Mobile Subscriber Identity. And this is the secret nickname. You see, instead of shouting your phone's permanent real identity over the open airwaves, which would be a huge security risk, the network assigns it this temporary private code. It makes everything way faster, and more importantly, it keeps your actual identity safe and sound. Okay, so this chart just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the LAI. That's your public location. It simply tells the network where you are, what zip code you're in. And on the right, you've got the TMSI. That's your private nickname. It tells the network who you are, but secretly. You absolutely need both for this to work. One tells the network where to look, and the other tells it who to look for, all without giving away your identity.
So, now that we know the two main dancers, the LI and the TMSI, let's actually watch the dance itself. This is the step-by-step conversation that happens every single time your phone moves into a new zip code, or what we call a new location area. Okay, let's walk through this, because it's brilliant. First, your phone notices it's in a new zip code, a new LAI, so it sends out a location update request. That message goes to the local network brain, called the VLR. Think of it like the local post office. That VLR then tells the main headquarters, the HLR, hey, this person has moved. In step 3, the headquarters tells your old local post office to just delete your temporary file. You're not there anymore. Then, HQ sends your subscriber file over to your new local post office. Step 5, the new VLR sends a confirmation back to your phone, and here's the cool part. It includes a brand new secret nickname, a new TMSI. And finally, your phone just sends a quick message back saying, "Got it," and the dance is complete. All of this happens in less than the blink of an eye.
So that's how it works for calls and texts. But you're probably wondering, what about your internet connection? You know, when you're streaming music or using Google Maps? Well, a very similar process is happening for your data, but it's got its own set of clever tricks to be even more efficient. When it comes to data, it all depends on if your move is local or long distance. There's this piece of network gear called an SGSN. Just think of it as the data hub for a whole area. Now, if you move to a new cell tower but it's still managed by the same SGSN, it's just a simple internal update. It's fast, it's easy. But if you travel far enough that you connect to a tower managed by a completely different SGSN, well, that's a long-distance move. The new hub has to actually call up the main headquarters, the HLR, to get your file and officially update your location in the master system.
And that right there brings us to the most important point of this whole thing. We've been talking about all these local updates, these temporary nicknames and zip codes, but what about your permanent record, the master list for the entire network?
Just think about it for a sec. If the network updated the main headquarters, the HLR, every single time you move from one room to another, it would be completely overwhelmed. It just wouldn't work. So the big question is, when does that master list actually get the new info?
And here is the elegant genius of the whole system. The central headquarters, the HLR, is only updated when you make a long-distance move, when you enter a whole new region managed by a new local brain, a new VLR for calls, or a new SGSN for data. For all your little movements around town, the network is smart enough to keep track of you locally. It only bothers the main boss at headquarters when it's a really significant change of location. It's just incredibly efficient.
So at the end of the day, your phone is in this constant, super high-speed conversation with the network, all to make sure you're never lost. This invisible dance of location updates and secret nicknames is what makes our entire connected mobile world even possible. Which really just leaves you with one final thought. With billions of devices all doing this at once, millions of times a second, how truly magnificent is the engineering that makes it all happen, flawlessly, instantly, without us ever even knowing it's there.